Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Grandmaster Herbert Ware with Mount Tabor Grand Lodge. We have another set of videos for victory we're going to cover this morning. This is quite possibly the most exciting set that we've talked about and possibly will talk about, because this is about finding your purpose and beginning to develop your legacy. You know, if we're going to leave anything once we close our eyes and leave this wonderful earth that we live on, we need to leave a legacy. And we're going to talk about what a legacy is, how to go about identifying, establishing, and leaving one. So we have several brothers on the line, different parts of the country, different occupations, different age brackets. So this should be a lively conversation. The first video we're going to talk about is the legacy concept. Grab it now. It's the Legacy Foundation. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Okay, I started this video off by saying many of us have less time than yesterday and don't know how much time we have tomorrow. So one thing the good Lord did is he gave us all 24 hours, but never told us how much time how many 24 hours we're gonna have. So time is, as they say, of the essence, okay? So in going back to the Legacy Foundation video, any comments, any opening statements? Welcome, Brother Gabe.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay.
No problem, no problem. Any comments on the Legacy Foundation video? Okay, well, let me say this.
All right.
For those of you that are coming into the Masonic Order in the first degree, the first level, you're exposed to 10 character words. Those words are there hidden in the text and not openly given to you, but basically those are the words that you use in defining them. You build your character. You start to build, or you adjust your character. Let me change that. All of you have, you're good men and you want to become better. We say we take good men and make them better. And I say that's not true. We take good men and we assist you in making you better. Because I say you never should let another man control your destiny or make you anything. So each of us have to be in control of our vessel. Okay? It's not what I say to you that will define you, it's what you say about yourself that will define you. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
In other words, it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, that ruins him, it's what comes out. Let me back that up. It's not what comes out, it's what goes in. And you can either let me put something in you or you can put it in yourself. So let me back that up. I can say something to you and you can reject that. Okay? But what you say to you is going to hit to the very core. What you accept in you, coming into you, hits to the very core of you and helps to develop you. Does that clarify what I'm saying a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was about to tell y'all I'm Baptist, so you gotta say something. Okay. See, with this Legacy Foundation, we gotta start with the basics. The things that we think, the things that we speak, and then our actions. And they all have to be what I call congruent. They have to be on the same line. I can't say I love you, and then hit you upside the head.
Right.
Okay. And I can't say I love you and think, man, I really can't stand you. It's just not gonna gel. And sooner or later, the actions are gonna be off too. Okay. So everything has to be congruent. It's kind of like, we're talking to Maze and he's taking pilot lessons. An airplane is never on course, but it's always adjusting, trying to make sure that it's on the right path. Okay.
Yeah.
So your character, your thinking, your speaking, and your actions have to be in line with one another, which all three should be in line with truth. Any comments?
Yes. As far as what I got out of the legacy concept is number one, we have to be intentional in our thinking, as you just said, and we have to speak it into fruition. And then we definitely need to take action. We don't need to be indecisive. We need to make a decision. When it comes to legacy, the Bible says that a good man leaves to his children an inheritance. And what is an inheritance? It's just not financial. I say that goes on to more of a legacy, because what can we leave that will be here after we're gone? You can leave money, have life insurance payouts and stack money up, and the kids can squander that within years or months. You can have trophies and memoirs and whatnot, and all that stuff is, well and good, and there's nothing wrong with collecting items of your success and and all of your different endeavors. But what really remains is what you do in life for others. And so when you create that legacy, you have to start off as a young man, and you have to be focused. And even if you don't start as a young man, at some point you just really have to be focused in on what you're doing, because with leaving a legacy, like I said, it's more than just financial. It's you're imparting wisdom. I think about the things that my father used to tell me, and he's dead now. And I said, man, I wish he was still alive, because I still have questions. I remember what he said to me. And, and I get in certain situations, circumstances, and I go back to that. But then when I have further ones, I said, man, I really should have been more in tune, because what he was saying was absolutely right. Now, although I thought it as nonsense and rubbish at the time, because I was a young man, but what those words of wisdoms and those little nuggets and that legacy that he built, just the type of a person that he was, number one.
Let me stop Reverend Al Brothers here, because he'll talk on. I heard something interesting the other day. One generation's accomplishment, one generation's ceilings is the next generation's floor.
Okay, yeah. I heard that same thing, and it was talking about generations, but then it says when you get like to the fourth generation, they kind of wane off. And
well, I didn't hear that part, and I'm not going that far. What I'm basically saying is, and you hit the nail on the head. You hit it when you said you leave an inheritance to your children's children, and it's not necessarily money, because I always ask, what's more important than silver and gold?
good name.
A good name.
A good name. And you see, the name that you leave for your children, for your children's children, can help them elevate themselves. Whereas you're right, Brother Al, money is, and the Bible says money answereth all things, but it is tangible and it's flighty. It comes and goes, ebbs and flows, okay? In Psalms 145, verse 4, it tells us that one generation shall praise thy works to another and shall declare thy mighty acts. So we are to leave a legacy, and that's what we have to, those watching this video have to start thinking now. What am I going to leave behind of substance? Yes, souvenirs talk about where you've been, okay, where you've traveled to, but they have no intrinsic value. Trophies say what you did while you were there, you know, but souvenirs and trophies can get lost. But a legacy is that more intangible thing that, again, goes from one generation to another generation to another generation. And the legacy very rarely can be lost, misplaced, etc.
Brother Gabe, I know what he was talking about his grandfather earlier, and just if I could just get him to speak on that a little bit, because that man left legacy.
Yeah. So from what I've learned from him is, and which is in alignment with the videos of this week, is starting with the foundation of understanding God's purpose for your life, because that's like the foundation floor, right? Once you understand God's purpose for your life, now wisdom is what you keep on leveraging to level yourself up. And your character, your actions, your words start manifesting and influencing your peers, your family members, people around you. And because they see the transformation in your life with that level of wisdom, with that level of positive thinking and encouragement and self-mastery, that's what leadership is, and legacy, in terms of, I don't have to force it to you. I don't have to punish you if you don't do what I'm doing. I want to inspire you. You're gonna go off track. You're gonna be stubborn. You're gonna talk trash. You're gonna be whatever. But you're gonna come back to this because my proven methodology has shown results.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a big fan of the book of Proverbs. He was really, he was reading every day, every day. And so this has become my favorite book, because by default I'm not a reader, you know what I'm saying? But I think that over time, every time you read that book, you learn something different, which means that the learning curve never stops. Ask, knock, seek. It's not a one-time thing. It's an everyday thing.
All right.
So this is what I've learned from him. And of course, I was so surprised and so pleased to see that is the same thing that were part of the videos. It's really consistent.
Well, we talk in terms of the Masonic order being a progressive science.
Mm-hmm.
Well, life is progressive, okay? And the Christian religion and all of the 6 major religions are progressive, which simply means we can read a scripture or passage, or we can study a part of our Masonic ritual today, and it means this. And tomorrow, next week, next year, it means that, because life has moved forward. So we're at a different place in our travels. It's sad that some things disappear, statues, buildings, and all that kind of good stuff. And those are tangible things that they change. But again, when you start talking about building a legacy, you're talking about putting something in that cannot be moved,
And I'm going to add something in regards to legacy and money, right? I mean, African families, you got like a bunch of wives, bunch of great grandkids. So if you're waiting for the money, you're never going to get it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get it. I mean, you might get like, I don't know, a couple $100, but I mean, good luck with that, right? So what really stood out was, and what I look at my cousins and um my environment, the people that are doing pretty well today are people who kind of replicated that process, those values, those virtues, those, you know, principles. And even me, I'm still on my journey, but I had that as a base to
Okay.
to eventually come here and ask and knock and seek, right? So this is something important. Unfortunately, I didn't get any money from him, despite all of his big things, but the values are very important.
Well, interesting, because what you did get was blood. Okay. And that's super important. It's in the blood. If we can go back, we can go back to the Bible and the sacrifice, the crucifying of Jesus. His blood is what provides makes room for our salvation. Likewise, Father to Son, Father to children, the blood. It's a lot of things. As you young men in your 30s or whatever get older, if not already, somebody will tell you you acting just like your father.
True.
And you going, huh? What do you mean? But some things are just passed down from generation to generation. And you just gotta keep your eyes open because it's there. And man, look, my father was 50 when he was diagnosed with high blood pressure. So was I. He had a white Chevrolet pickup truck. And when I went to buy a pickup truck, because I had some horses and needed to carry hay, I said, I want any color except white. I winded up with a white pickup truck. It was the best price. I couldn't say no to it. Father had a black dog that he kept out in the backyard. I winded up, my daughter had a black Labrador retriever. She moved to Austin and gave me the dog. I'm going, this is too coincidental. This is too much in line. Okay. Now, let me tell you the other side of this story. He died when he was about 78, so I'm kind of worried. I don't want to follow this brother too closely. Okay. But the things that if you go back and look, okay, it's all there. It's all there. Now, true enough, you can, in some cases, and some men, their legacy is cursed. It's a bad legacy. And you can break those curses with the right study and application.
Yes, generational
Okay.
curses. Yeah.
So we have to be cognizant of what we're given and recognize it and then make some adjustments. But
Yeah.
any legacy we leave is not going to be by accident.
On purpose. Yeah.
There's got to be purpose. Brother Wilson, how you doing? You got you're muted, but okay. Any other questions on the legacy foundation and the concept?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody doing this morning?
All right. Great.
Can you hear me
Great.
okay?
brother.
Yes, sir.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, sorry for stepping in a little late. But yeah, as far as legacy though, I agree with everything everyone's saying. And the legacy is not just it can also not just be with your children. It can be with the people around you and what you instill in people around you. Because people hear the words that you speak, and you know if you have a teacher, any type of teacher spirit in you, then you know people take words that you say to heart. People listen to what you have to say. So your legacy is also, you know, money that you leave to your children, and also the word and seed that you plant in them. If that wasn't already said already, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Absolutely. And we move from the intent of leaving a legacy to the law of thought.
All right, all right.
What do you guys think in terms of thought and thinking and so forth?
But we know thoughts are things. If we don't know, we should know, because you know the thoughts that we have, it leads us to certain situations, or all of the situation that we end up finding ourselves in today, in the current position that we're. You guys can hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you know the thoughts that we think, it leads us to where we currently are today. I mean, I'm talking about every single thought that we've ever thought in our lives, it leads us to the current position that we are in this day and time, June 25th, 1035, And I didn't understand that at first, but when you applied, you know what I'm saying, study towards you're on your journey, you start looking back at the things that you were doing in your youth, and you're like, man, that's why it's like this right now. You know what I mean? And I mean that is so true. The law of thought, it influences every single aspect of your life right now.
But now we have good thoughts, we have bad thoughts, we have crazy thoughts. Can you control your thoughts?
yes.
If so, how?
Through study, through the Word of God, through a few different ways. Through practice, through meditation.
Yeah.
You have to cancel those bad thoughts out with good thoughts, because something is going to occupy your mind. Your mind is constantly going. And so if you start having bad thoughts, you have to replace that. It's the law of vacuum. You have to subtract that and take that away, discard that, and replace it with what's good and what's wholesome. As far as thoughts, so is the man thinking, so is he. So we have to, not have ceilings when it comes to thoughts. You don't want to, as I say, limit yourself. The battle that we all have to fight truly is within our mind. And, you have to start off and number one, try to align your mind with the mind of Yah. That's the first biggest thing, is to take on the right form of thinking. And I think that kind of messes a lot of people up, because a lot of times, and I myself fall victim to it, from time to time, because I'm human. But we can get into a pattern of bad thinking. And
you haven't ever heard me say I'm human, have you?
huh? You said a narrative.
Brothers, Whisper Master Searles, we've been holding these meetings and talking to one another for years. Have you ever heard me say I'm human?
Well,
No, hold on a minute.
Go ahead, Al.
okay, let me readdress that now. We know that
the reason I say that is this, okay?
it's an excuse.
If I say I like you, Al, but as soon as I put the but out there, it cancels everything I said before this.
Right, you negate everything when you put but in.
Okay, so when we start talking, I hear people say that. I hear preachers say that. Well, I was a man first, or I'm human. That is the excuse for wrong thinking,
Yes,
or
right.
wrong action,
Mhm.
and we're never to accept that. We understand, we know we are, but we should always chastise ourselves, correct ourselves whenever there's something wrong, and not.
Can I correct myself?
We got.
But that's the hardest thing to do, brother.
Yeah, I was talking to a young man that has serious problems with women and all this stuff, and I told him, I said, you got to analyze yourself. You got to evaluate yourself. Well, I'm honest with myself. It is virtually impossible for me to be honest with me. Okay? I have to rely on input from somebody else who
Right.
I value, who I respect, whose word I hold, I trust. Okay? because I'm going to give me an excuse in some way, shape, or form. I remember talking to my mother because I had these. I used to play, okay, and they say every Christmas I had a different woman at the Christmas dinner, okay, and my mother told me, son, it can't be something wrong with all these women.
Yeah, I had that.
There's something wrong with you. You need to check yourself and kill that curse your daddy put on you. Now,
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, brother. Somebody told me
okay.
that.
So it's tough for us to evaluate ourselves, and therein lies the importance and the benefit of a good Masonic lodge or good church where you have brothers that are interested in your well-being, your progress, that you trust, you respect, and they're going to be honest with you. And then you have to be man enough to take it. Go
Basically,
ahead, brother.
um,
Gabe, I saw your lips move.
yeah. So a tip that, because I was using that a lot. Like when I make a lot of mistakes, when I mess up, I'm like, oh, I'm human. It happens. And and it keeps you stuck, right? Because that excuse never goes away. So usually in my journey, in my path, I came to realize that we are actually divine beings
Yes,
having a
yes.
human experience, right? So once you bring that to the law of thoughts, once you integrate that in your thinking, like, okay, I'm divine, I'm a divine being, came on this journey for a particular purpose, having an experience. You have the obligation to live up to that. And in addition to that, in order to control your thoughts, you got to filter what you feed your thoughts. Music, TV, Instagram, Snapchat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying those things are good. I'm all in these platforms, but like, I want to filter what I see, what I listen to,
Right.
what I watch, because it really, really affects your thinking long term. And
It
those
affects
things
your speech and your action.
and your action, because thoughts are linked to imagination.
Right.
So imagination is where the magic, that word you have, right? Magic in it. That's where things happen. And next thing you know, you do something stupid because your subconscious mind was fed a lot of garbage
That's
over
the
the
key.
years.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback on that
Briefly.
briefly? We have to live in that third mind, that super subconscious mind. I said earlier we're human, but we are all nefesh, neshama, and ruach. So we need to stay not in that first natural mind, not in that second mind of consciousness, but in that super subconscious mind where everything happens, which is where we dwell in the holies of holies. But Brother Searles, I know he had something to say about this.
Well, I'm good.
I know you got some good stuff over there, brother.
Let me put it like this. I believe God has a purpose and a plan for everything and everybody. He put everything and everybody here, and we have everything we need. When you start talking about how hard times are and the problems you've had and all that kind of good stuff, it was because of the way you thought and what you allowed other people to put in you. Okay. I think inherently when we are born and as we grow up, we know instinctively right from wrong. I know if I do certain things, I'm going to make you uncomfortable or feel bad. Okay. So the power of thought is always there. And as Al said, we have to capture those bad thoughts and replace them with good thoughts. I go to bed every night trying to, and I'm going to use that word, trying to repeat the 7 affirmations from January 12th. 2018. Many times I get to the second or third one and my mind goes off and start thinking about something else. Then I realize I've been distracted. What does the devil do?
Distract, deceive, delay.
Then I go back and start over again. Okay. Rarely do I ever get to finish it because I fall asleep. Okay. And that's the objective. I want to relax. I want to be positive when I go to sleep. But my mind will go off and start thinking about something else. So our minds are never blank. It's a constant fight. And the thoughts lead to the next video, which is the law of words.
Mm.
And they used to say back in the day, what you say is what you get. Any comments on that? True or untrue?
It's true. True. Well, Jesus said that, you know, as we speak, whatever we speak, you know, we bring things into fruition, whether it's good or bad. And so, which is why, you know, we go from the thoughts. You need to take those thoughts captive, because if you don't take those thoughts captive, the next thing you know is that you'll start to speak in it. And once you start to speak in it, now you're speaking things into fruition. And then the next step is you're going to be taking action. So we know, number one, we got to check our thoughts. But number two, we really have to be mindful, because it says, the Bible also says that blessings and curses come from the same spring of well, and that shouldn't be so, because it's not a natural thing. You don't go to, you know, you don't have on most occasions fresh water and salt water that sneak in coming out of one spout. It's either or. And
well,
so
life and death is what?
in the power of the tongue.
Okay. Your speech, your words put a stamp of approval on your thoughts. Bottom line. There are three gates. I mean, there's five, but I like the three main gates. Okay. What we hear, what we see, and probably the most important one, powerful one, is what we say. Because what we say comes back to our hearing and goes into our spirit. And if we say it enough, we're going to hear it enough, we're going to start believing it.
Yeah.
The beginning was the word, right? So even God Almighty,
Right.
in order to create, had to
Create.
use words, right?
Absolutely.
You have to speak.
And it's always wild when somebody says something to you and they turn back and say, I'm just joking.
Yeah, yeah. It's already out there in the universe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You know, there's three things that you cannot take back, or three things that are impossible. Impossible. Number one, you can't kiss a girl leaning away from you. Number two, you can't climb a fence leaning towards you. And number three, you can't take back words that have been spoken. I'll give you a fourth one if you want. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. So words, once they are released, they begin to put stamp of approval on thoughts, and they create. And when it comes down to the words, small minds talk about what?
People.
Things. Mediocre minds
Things.
about people.
People.
Great minds talk about ideas, aspirations, and purpose. Now, when you start talking about ideas, aspirations, and purpose, that's going to separate you from the populace, from the majority. Can you handle that?
Yep.
Any comments? I think Brother Gabe summed it up. He says, in the beginning was the word.
Word. Yeah.
You can't get more direct about what we say than that. Again, I direct you to those 7 affirmations from January 12th, 2018. Fellas, I've been saying that, and I believe I've been blessed because those 7 affirmations spoken out loud multiple times a day creates an air about you. Okay, remember, God created everything that we ever need. There's no shortage of time. We all got the same amount, 24 hours. There's no shortage of money. There's no shortage of ideas. There's no shortage of resources. When we were looking at getting a house, they told us, well, it's just hard right now because there's a shortage of workers. There's a shortage of materials. And as I traveled down the highway, I saw lumber yards filled with wood to build houses. I saw trucks coming down the highway with the frames on the to build houses. Okay, there's no shortage of anything. The thing is, we have to put ourselves in a position where the magnetism of the universe brings to us what we need or lead us to where we need to be. And where does that start?
With us, in the mind.
Okay.
Quick comment.
In step 2, once we put it in here, step 2 is what?
Apply it or speak it.
Gotta speak it.
Speak it into existence and then apply it.
Those 7 affirmations address every area of our life. Now, originally, when I ran into that, it was 12. I condensed it, and then through research and so forth, I was able to connect, pull up out of the Bible where they came from. Hold on just a minute. Y'all go ahead, Al, and say what you were saying.
Something that you told me the other day, and you asked me, how many men do you have in your lodge? And I said 15 because I caught where you were going. But we have to speak as if it's already into effect. Speak futuristically. We can't live in the past or the present. We have to live in the future. So as Master Masons and as Christians, what we speak should come to fruition. We should already, as we're thinking, we should be believing. And as we're speaking it, we know that we're believing and put that in the process. Again, as we work, it should come to fruition and happen.
Yeah.
Well, this I'm only human. Wow. I'm only human. My wife keeps calling.
Yeah, there's a saying that goes, if you can see it in your head and speak it with your heart, you can hold it in your hands. Right. So, like once we really have those amazing thoughts and we believe what we're thinking with all of our heart and faith, we let it go and it's going to happen.
Listen, look, like that excuse that I'm human. I was talking to someone about a week ago, and they're older than me. They're 50, and I called them out on it, right? I said, man, you're 50 years old. Why? You know better. Their excuse was, oh well, I know people 75 that can't get it together. And I'm like, I knew who I was talking to then when I said that. So I left that conversation alone. You know what I mean? Because it had me upset. Well, it had me upset. But when they said that, I'm 50 years. I mean, I know people that are 75 that can't get it together, and with a straight face, like that's an honorable thing. I just knew right then and there who I was talking to.
Yeah. Well, it's sad to say, but a lot of times people get stuck on that second part. They'll think it and they can start saying it, but they not truly believe it. So they never take action and put it into, you have to make a decision, and indecision is decision. And so, we have to, that's the last part of the hump. Once we say it and truly, I guess that's the thing, is truly believe it, we should be taking action.
Look, when
How
the
do
police,
you get to the point of truly believing?
you got
See,
the constant.
I have people tell me all the time, well, that works good for you. Well, you wasn't always, and my wife tell me this all the time, you wasn't always like that. That is exactly right. You are absolutely telling the truth. I wasn't always like this. How
Right.
do you get to the point where you can say something and you begin to believe it?
First of all, you got to say it over and over again. Then you got to start applying it. You got to live it, think it, and breathe it.
And it also on faith and trust. You know, you can have faith and trust in the process. But a lot of things, some people say seeing is believing. Well, you can see other people's process, and you can know that it'll work for you if you do the same things. And so, even with the Bible, we know God's mind and what He thinks and what His will is for us because it's right there. And so, as we read it, you know, we know what we need to do. It's just a matter, really, of believing it and trusting that, you know, what He said, that He's not a liar, and what He says will come to fruition. And if we do our part, you know, we know He's going to do His part.
Okay, brother,
Yeah,
Wishful
well,
Master Sirs is looking at you kind of funny, Al.
no.
Go ahead, Sirs. I knew something was coming.
I everything that's been said on this recent topic is absolutely true. However, I think that, and I'm speaking from myself, I think the very first part of that is strengthening my connection with the Most High. Because for me, if I didn't learn to try to, and I'm still on that journey, strengthen myself with Him, I can try to say it and believe it all I want. But if I don't have His help and His guidance, I'm just going in circles. And I think that goes back to what Brother Moore was saying about the gentleman that you just spoke about, you know, about not getting himself together. He knows that there's people 75 that still ain't got
Hello?
he has no connection. I believe it's possible that he has a weak or a disconnect from the Most High, because without having being that connection first, anything else, you know, you're gonna falter. You're always gonna be greatly, you know, disenchanting to the individual. So for me, I just wanted to add to this whole mix of everything that we're saying. If we make that connection with the Most High, and then everything that we perceive in our thoughts, building a legacy, you know, even correcting our words and manifesting, making things be manifest in our life, that will all happen once the lineage is complete. And if that lineage is not complete, then we're going to have an issue.
So we should be acting like our daddy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. I
Yes,
think
sir.
so. You mentioned, Brother Al, you
Yeah.
mentioned about, you know, what he provided to us, you know, in the sacred volume of law that we all read. And the plan is there. Many of us don't know how to decipher the plan. I'm still learning how to decipher the plan.
Right.
But the more that I connect with Him, the more revelation that He gives me, and be able to control my thoughts and adjust my thoughts and be able to, you know, speak the proper words, and make things manifest in my life and in the lives of those that I touch.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, like sometimes even when we don't get to manifest, it might not be aligned with God's will for us. So sometimes you might do an affirmation of trying to manifest this woman that you want to marry, or you know, whatever, right?
Right.
And it's not working. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? But sometimes it's not just like you said, like align. If you don't have that connection, it's not gonna come to fruition, because it's also a shield of protection for you.
I disagree.
Huh. As I say, the devil can give you things too.
Yeah.
I disagree with what you said, Wishful Master Searle and
Okay.
Gabe. Here, I know I have the right to be wrong, okay? But
That's good. No, I want to hear it. Let's go. Let's go.
the principles and the precepts that the Almighty created work for saints and sinners.
Right.
So I can not have that connection, but the principles of the law of thoughts, the law of words, the law of actions, all of that can still I can reap benefits from it. Now, there's a difference if you have the lineage and the connection with Yah and God Almighty, and I don't. There's a difference in down the road or in the end or whatever the case may be. Okay, there might be a difference even in today's our quality of life, but I can still, the principles work for saints and sinners. So
Right, because
what's the benefit of having that connection? Now you
Without God, what is the worth?
Say
what
what
is
Brother
the worth?
Wilson?
What is it worth without God? You know, I mean, it's just things. You know, things come and go. People come and go, but God remains.
Exactly.
You know, and that love that you get from God, that those blessings that you know, it's kind of hard to find the words to express. You know, it's beyond anything that you can buy. You know what I mean? Or it's beyond human flesh. You know, so I mean, yeah, you can have all those things. You absolutely can have all those things. You know, because people in the world, you know, they do affirmations and the universe attracting all this good stuff.
play with crystals.
Yeah, crystals, all this type of stuff. But why would I get so deep into that stuff when I don't have God? When I could just go straight to the source. I go to the one who made all this stuff, who's allowed it to be. You know.
Okay.
So if I got God, I got everything.
Any other comments? Short, quickly, Al.
Sustaining power. Now,
okay, got you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Moore.
Well, like what Brother Wilson was saying, you know, without God, what is it worth? Because we can get those blessings, right? Like you say, saints and sinners. But if we get those blessings and then we lose them, and let's say we're not a saint, we react different to that loss. Whereas we get those blessings, having that connection with the Most High, those things come and go. We understand that, and we keep going on in life because we know that they're going to keep coming.
Okay, Gabe.
Yeah, and like I'm going to piggyback on this. Beyond even losing it, you could go through horrible consequences. You can marry the wrong person, and that could destroy your life. You manifested her, okay, but you know what is the end result? You know, so I think that keeping that light in the process gives you clarity, and clarity is eternal, right? It's something that's going to always gives successful, positive outcomes in the long run.
Let me throw two words at you: peace,
power,
and prosperity.
No, I said two words. Peace, P-E-A-S-E. No, I'm sorry, P-E-A-C-E. Okay. And the second word is joy. Now, those that don't have that connection might not have the peace that comes with that acquisition, comes with possession, okay? But joy, whether you got it or not, when you have that connection, you know, and that brings joy. A lot of times, see, people want to be happy when joy is what we should be after. You can be in the midst of trials and tribulations and still have joy in your life.
Right, that only comes from the connection.
Exactly.
And in power. Yeah.
See, and that's all I was trying to get y'all to bring out, because somebody listening to this video gonna say, well, man, I don't necessarily believe in all this God stuff, but you know, and I've been saying stuff and bringing and making money and having fun and all this kind of good stuff.
Right.
Somebody's going.
And you're right, because a lot of God's followers look like they be struggling and don't seem to be as happy. You know, you got people go to church, pray, do all this and that, and on the outside, You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that they're not happy or they have joy, but on the outside, it looks like they're in a struggle. Whereas the sinner who's getting everything, who has a life full of materialistic things and that peace or whatever happiness, they seem to be getting along. They be like, you worshiping God, praising God, and you look how you living over here, but look how I'm living over there. You know what I mean?
Well, how do we get the peace and the joy and establish the connection? I think we're instructed to meditate day and night, right? Right?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay, so that tells us the more we put something in, the more we absorb it. The more we
Right.
absorb it, the more we're able to do. So anybody having problems, situations, or whatever, they should meditate both day and night on what?
Words.
That's it. Hey, we can talk a whole bunch about the words. I want to move to past Grandmaster Tony Hawkins. Any comments on the interview and the talking that we did real quick? We got about 5 minutes we can give to those two videos.
Well, I think that I've seen that video before we got into this portion of the training, and it was it's a good thing. It's something that I tried to do here on a local level in the state of Louisiana maybe 15, 20 years ago, and that's creating that unification between brothers and of different organizations, because we all potentially striving for the same goal.
Yeah.
And and it makes no sense for all of us to strive for the same goal and do it independently. So I thought that it seems like the conference that you guys were at, I hope it bear good fruit and continuing to bear good fruit, because it's a great thing when you can come together within the state, and then you can come together under a certain Masonic Congress, or several Masonic Congresses get together, and then you can take that unification and take it to the even further to another national level or even internationally, so that we all could be doing the same work and be doing the work in unison to make these things that we're trying to do for the community a lot better, and touch more lives and influence more young men, young women, and so on and so forth. So I thought the conversation that you guys had was, was hilarious. But it was very informative. And if anybody, I don't know if any of you guys ever checked out Brother Hawkins his YouTube site. He's a trip, man.
He's very animated. He's very
Yeah.
animated.
Yeah, yeah. But
He's rough.
yeah.
I
But
told him, I commented to him one day on one of his videos, say, brother, you doing good work, man. Stop caring what other people think. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing good work. You know what I mean?
He really doesn't. He looks for those topics to address.
Yeah.
Right.
And he will challenge you. He'll stand toe to toe with you. You got to be, if you oppose him, hey, you got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you got to know your stuff.
But fellas,
I got 3 things out of that video. One was we should have a kindred spirit. 2 was the more the merrier. Masonry is universal. And 3, everybody should do their part. As he was saying, if we all start coming together, and this lodge gives 1,000, and now you got 10 lodges, that's 10,000. If you got 100, that's 100,000. So like I said, we all need to do our part. We all need to come together, and we need to find a lodge that fits us and that we fit it.
hey, this is where I want to get to. This is why I've been pushing so fast before we run out of time. The law of pursuit. The law of action. My dog's sick and my cat's pregnant, so I hadn't been able to study. you know, I've been working a lot. I can't listen to videos. Almost anything stands in my way.
Right.
The law of pursuit. Talk to me about the law of pursuit as you understand it. Real quick, I'm gonna say like a minute or two. Think about it, what you're gonna say, because I'm going around the screen here. The law of pursuit, and then we're gonna open it up and start doing what we do. Let's start with Brother Mays. You gotta cut your volume on.
Okay, law of pursuit.
And action.
Well, proof is performance. So, and action is everything, when I think of pursuit, I think of course chasing after that goal, acquiring, whatever you seek, out of your journey, for accomplishing that goal. I think of that's all I really got right now.
Brother Imran.
Well, law of pursuit, I just thinking, well, I know for sure it's just the way you think, first of all. Just seeking to do better for yourself, achieving goals, principles involved, things of that nature. It's a lot, but you got to put in the work for sure. It's a frame of mind, frame of thinking, achieving goals. It's a lot. Change of your circle, all that comes in play.
Okay, Brother Al.
This is a combination of all the videos that have come together. As we said earlier, action. We're at that point. A lot of people get like also that second step between thinking and speaking. And so now we need to go and put this into action, which brings up to mind the fourth, number 4, as far as our affirmations. I'm anointed by God, the voice of truth, God me along my path. The answers come with the questions. The path is lit with the first step. The goal is in sight with the desire. All that is good, I desire. I did not seek, I know. I did not strive, I'm guided. I did not think responsibly, I think originally. So we need to institute everything we've been taught on these last ones and bring it to a head. Truly believe it. Go ahead and make it happen and bring it to fruition. And that comes from finding our purpose, knowing our plan, making decisions. Like I said earlier, indecision is a decision. And knowing that all these things, these seeds that we sow, we should definitely reap. So we have to be renters and not owners. We have to take
So
possession.
you think you know everything? That's what they're gonna say to you. That's what
You
everybody's
said 2
gonna
minutes.
say
I'm
to
trying to
you.
get it in there.
Yeah, you think you know everything. See, Brother Gabe.
So I'm gonna be transparent and admit that I used to be a big procrastinator. 10 years ago, I was taking my time for everything, delaying everything. And I came to realize that action creates a reaction, right? So that movement, that motion gives you the results. And part of my daily affirmation, I say, I love getting things done. I love getting things done. And over time, my meditations, my work, my family obligations, I can see that I'm more productive with my time management, and I've created a habit. So I think that we have to start here as well. When you keep on saying that you love getting things done, I love getting things done, naturally, everything start coming into pieces. That's my experience. So,
All right, brother Moore.
What I got to say about the law of pursuit, we go after the things that we desire the most. So we definitely pursue those things, and we apply that action or everything that we need when we're desiring, whatever it may be, when we're desiring those things. So the law of pursuit, we should apply that into our spiritual upbringing and things like that, or our spiritual pursuits as well, because we do it for everything else. And we go hard for everything else. So the law of pursuit definitely we need to be more mindful of that and take heed of that and go after the things that really matter.
The average man goes hard behind everything, after everything they want.
I'm gonna say the average man does go hard for everything that he wants. Now he says he wants something and he doesn't go hard for it, he doesn't really desire that thing, because we do have, in the world, people that are lazy, but the things that we really want, whether it be bad things that are not good for us, drugs, women, whatever, we go hard for those things, but we might
Okay.
not go hard for the things that are good for that we need,
Okay, Brother Wilson.
My mic on. Okay, yeah, just to sum it up real quick, faith without works is dead. So, just, you got to put in the work and, being organized, it helps a lot. Just to be organized and say, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And, you might not even get to all those things, but at least you can scratch things off the list and just, and progress. Some progress is better than none. So I try not to beat myself up too much about it when I don't get certain things done. But I definitely try to prioritize and try to organize myself. And even if I don't hit the mark, which none of us really do with all things, at least I came close. I tried, beats a dud.
Let's hear from some wisdom here. Yeah, the one with the gray hair.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, what I want to say will basically sum everything up, because everything that everybody hit on is right on point. But just to make it a little funny, we talked about being a young man, just being a man, pursuing after different things in life. But if you could just take the concept of thinking about, you had this nice young lady that you've seen and that you really want to be into, and I don't mean physically into, somebody that you want to be with, and you do all that you can to try to make sure that you're trying to make this date, you trying to impress this young lady, and you try to do these things to be able to capture her and capture her so she could be a part of you. And when you're doing that, you may have things that you might have to go to the grocery store, you might have to go to Home Depot because you're building the deck. But you said, man, I'm not going to do that right now because I got this young lady on my mind. And you make that a priority.
Exactly.
And when you make that a priority and when you pursue after her in that manner, then if you take that same concept with what the discussion that we're talking about now and put that same zeal into life and into your connection with the Most High, there's no telling where you can go. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense because we all have done that. We all
Brother,
have.
That's what I was trying to say, brother, sir. You said it so eloquently. That's exactly what I was trying to say right there.
Yes, sir. And that action, following that pursuit, takes all of the concepts that we've discussed today and puts it into fruition. And it'll bring us peace, it'll bring us joy, but more importantly, we have to think about what is going to bring to those individuals that come after us, which is our legacy. Because whatever we do today is based upon what's going to happen in the future for those that you are connected with.
My children, which are grown, my grandchildren will hear and speak of me in one or the other light.
That's correct.
When they run into you, you will speak of me in one or the other light. And you will consequently make a decision and have an initial impression of them based on what I did.
Correct.
If you met Dr. King, Martin Luther King's daughter or son,
you have expectations. Exactly.
But if you met one of mass murderers' descendants, you still have expectations, but you're gonna get away from them.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know whether he got his daddy or his grandfather in it. You follow me?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Am I right?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So what we do today has a bearing on tomorrow. And if we procrastinate, if we are slack in our application, okay, then we might as well destroy. We know better than to destroy. Proverbs 18:9 says, whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys.
Mm.
So we have to be able, fellas, to make a decision, okay, and then go after it. A real man makes a decision and then makes that decision right. Let me say that again. A real man makes a decision and then makes that decision right. Now, let me ask you a question. How does he make it right?
Follow through on what he's supposed to do.
Wilson been saying it. He said it 2 or 3 times. Go to work.
Go to work.
Work will solve, and I say it all, 80 to 90% of our problems. Go ahead, Gabe. You said you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing that I want to add is, you know, before I was able to find what I'm doing now and like my purpose, and I was really lost. You know, I started majoring in biology, and then I changed to this, and I do this, and you know, and some people are stuck because of lack of vision as well. So you might have a job, but you don't want to get up in the morning, you don't want to go, you hate your job, right? So I think that one thing that allows us to make the decision right is to understand your why and your passion, because then it's easier. You know, we're all focusing on the money, but it's not everything. Sometimes you could be the best at a particular field where you're passionate about, and you have a why, which could be taking care of your family, you know, be a good man in your community. And that makes you wake up early in the morning and loving what you do. And the action taking gets easier. That's something I wanted to add.
But generally, I want to get to that position, that occupation, and then I will apply myself. So I don't like what I'm doing, and so I'm not going to put out the effort I should put out because I don't enjoy it.
True.
Let me be transparent. I had businesses, and back in the early 90s or whatever, I was actually leasing and financing, brokering, financing for machinery, heavy machinery, okay? All business went down, my business went down. I had to go get me a job again. And so I went to a retail store and started selling VCRs, TVs, appliances, and so forth. I figured I'd go there and stay about 6 months and find me another business to get into. Okay? Because I want to work for me. Wound up staying there 5 years. I became salesman, assistant store manager, told them make me a salesman again. I was always number 1 or 2 in top sales. Hated every minute for 5 years. Didn't like working on the weekends, didn't like working on the holidays, didn't like working split shifts, did not enjoy it at all. But I was always in the top 2, 3 in sales. I met the guy that got me involved in the work I do now through that job. He came in, A friend of mine told me I needed to get into insurance. I said, I don't like insurance. I don't like insurance salesmen. I don't like car salesmen. I was a salesman, but I do not like insurance and car salesmen. Did not like them at all. He told me I needed to get into that business. So I went and talked to this guy and winded up selling cemetery property, headstones, and burial plates. Now that's real close to being an insurance salesman. Okay. Then my mentor talked me into getting an insurance license. I told him, I don't like insurance agents. I don't like you. I don't like car sales. I do not want to be an insurance salesman. Okay. He says, well, you need to get a license. But being obedient to my mentor, I got the license. In the class, people say they're taking that test 3, 4, 5 times. First time I passed
Right.
it. It was meant for me. Okay.
And you didn't like insurance salesmen.
I didn't. Now I are one. Okay. And been one for over 25 years. Okay.
Right.
So, and what's so crazy about it, back in 74, when I got out of the Army, I was hired by Prudential Life Insurance and was supposed to start the training. My mama told me I didn't need to do that. I needed a job where I could get, I know what I was gonna make every month, every week. And I refused the job. 20 years later, I got the license.
Look at that.
Well, that kind of remind me about Moses, you know, how he tried to take over, you know, earlier on and end up killing the Egyptian, but it wasn't his time yet. He had to go into the wilderness for a minute.
Yeah. So what happens when you don't follow the law of pursuit? Sometimes it's delayed. In my case, I'm saying it was delayed, of course. Some people say timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we really don't even get close to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, get denied. Yeah, that's worse than getting delayed. Get denied.
So there again, I'm going back to what Worshipful Master Searle said, when you have that connection, okay, it's the good Lord takes care of babies and damn food, babies and damn food. And I tell people all the time, I jump from one side of the line to the other. Okay. One day I'm one day I'm on the other. Okay. So eventually I got to the right side. Okay. And therein lies the benefit of that connection that Worshipful Master Searles and y'all were talking about. But we can't always count on that because we don't, how much time do we have?
Right.
Take out the trash tomorrow, Daddy? Well, it's stinking right now.
Now, yeah, take it out now.
Well, it's like you said, you know, you can tell your kids, and just like our spiritual father, you know, but at some point we got to start listening and start taking action. You know, they can provide things and lay it out there for you, but they can't not make you make a decision. That's something every man really got to do for himself.
The one thing that the law of pursuit demands is action.
Action.
It says, I do not react, I act. If you don't ACT, you are going to constantly find yourself REACT, ing, reacting.
Yeah.
The real shakers and movers make a decision, and then they make that decision right by action. And that's where we got to get our men. I almost said young men. We got to get some old dogs off the porch too. There's a lot of old dogs sitting on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
75.
Okay.
No, brother, more say.
Listen, that's what that person told me, 75. I'm like, yeah, that's
Well, I'm 71. And if I don't do what I'm doing, if I sit on that porch, then guess what?
Nothing happens, right?
You
Absolutely.
might die. Get inactive, man. You know, you got to stay moving.
Absolutely. And,
You
and
slow
it tickles me with it tickles me. I take it at every opportunity when somebody talk about being retired. I ask them, where did they get that concept from?
Yeah.
Because in the Bible, there's no such word. There's no instruction.
Right.
I think it says a man shall work all the days of his life by the sweat of his brow.
Hmm.
So where you get retirement from?
Listen, listen. I
the work
look.
to be done in the afterlife. It's still work.
Listen. I read the Richest Man in Babylon, and one of the characters, right, who found himself out of slavery to become not the richest man in Babylon, but became a rich merchant. And his partner who bought him out of slavery, he was taking on his grandson, that partner's grandson, and they was asking him like, why do you travel across the hot desert with camels and people and with wares to sell when you're rich and wealthy? If it was me, I would just relax and enjoy my trinkets and go. And he say, so you would have me do that, then work, basically saying work was fit for only slave. And he was like, I'm going to work all my days because work brings progress. It brings me all the joys that I have, the people, the interesting people that I have and in my life. And I only got those things through work. So basically he's never retired. He was an older man, you know,
Okay.
never retired.
Speaking of retiring, I was one of my co-workers was talking to me about his mother. And she was an airline, she was an airline stewardess for like 50 years. Anyway, she retired and now she's at home with her husband.
Ready to go back to work, I bet.
It's a lot different. She ready to go back to work. So
Oh, God, right.
So I mean,
well, we started off listening to in the introduction, Wishful Master Sarah's talking about 2 years, and I think I'm gonna retire.
Yeah, from that
Yeah,
line of
see,
work, that
now-
don't mean I'm stopped working.
Yeah, now is the time to start thinking about what endeavor, what venture, what business, whatever it is you want to do.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
until you close your eyes, you are supposed to be about something.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And my pastor said one time, if you take care of the old man, the young man will take care of the old man.
Hmm.
So those of you that are young, if you go on and act, plan, strategize, and act now, you're gonna put yourself, when you get the hair like me and Searles, you're gonna be in catbird seat.
Hmm.
See, again, 0 to 20 you learn, 20 to 40 you practice, 40 to 60 you should be able to call things into existence. Because you made your errors between 20 and 40.
but
You
Mhm.
tested everything between 20 and 40. You found out what works and don't work. So when you hit 40 to 60, you should be able to make things happen. You should be the shakers and movers.
Hmm.
Now that's just the way I see it. But I
That's
have the right. I have the right to be wrong.
And for centuries and for ages, that's how it has always been. You know, some of us are late bloomers. Some of us are late bloomers. So, but it's okay. Until your eyes close, you're still working on that and being able to get to that point.
Yeah. Gabe, you were going to say something.
No, I think that something, I decided to be an entrepreneur because I didn't want to work for anybody, right? And I think that this is something that we also need to instill in our community. Working as a sense of ownership, not just working for clocking in and clocking out, but looking like we're working towards freedom to keep on doing other types of work, which empowers our surroundings, which empowers our families, and like the whole nine of. I mean, once again, it's okay to have a job, and it's a good
Yeah.
thing, but I think that we need to. I mean, I remember I was I had a colleague on my old job, um, you know, um, and I didn't know how wealthy he was until I went to his house, and he was making at a call center. I was like, I don't know, 19. He was making like $12 with me, but he was super rich, like wealthy. And I was like, "Well, you got a $12 an hour job?" And he was like, "I just love talking to people.
Mhm.
I just love talking to people." So we can have a job because we want to, not because we
Yeah.
have to, right? And ownership allows us to now work in our craft, empower
Yes.
other brothers, give out to charity, mentor other people. That's my vision, like for like my definition of long-term work, not just the clocking in and clocking out.
Okay.
Can I
Okay.
add something to that?
Go ahead.
With a purpose, a job could be wonderful. So I'm gonna give a
Exactly.
brief example, right? So let's just say, and a lot of I explained this to a lot of people. I read a book about franchising a few months ago. So let's just say a kid decides to go work for McDonald's, right? And learn the business model, the business process, understand the position and the duties that's needed to operate that store, that restaurant. With the right mindset, purpose, and guidance, this person can put in enough time to where he or she can buy his own franchise,
Right.
Exactly.
you know, and do consulting and help others develop their franchise, because you
Right.
still need the skill, right?
Right.
If you want to go own a McDonald's and having yet worked for a restaurant a day in your life, you're going to struggle. You're not going to know who to hire, who to fire. You're not going to know any of the processes or how to run the register, just the business needs, right? So I look at a job as you can learn if you have a purpose, you can learn the business model, you can learn the duties and responsibilities to establish your own, business. But you
Right.
got to go in there with a purpose.
And
So
then
go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's the part of working a job that we're not teaching our community, because everybody nowadays is talking about entrepreneurship, which is wonderful and great. Freedom, everybody want to be a boss, but in that's making people not like the work, because a lot of young people like, man, I don't want to work for nobody. I don't want to do this, but you got to work somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So when we teach that, back to what you were saying, Brother Mays, that instills, like, you know what I'm saying, the right values going in there. I mean, like, man, one day you can own this or do this and that. You don't have to do that, but work is a tool, is another school of learning. You know what I mean? Work, I look at everything as an apprenticeship, because work or a job, they have transferable skills that you can take everywhere.
Mhm.
You understand?
Piggyback.
Very cool.
Yeah, to be a good leader, or you need to be a good follower, and to be a good server first. And that's what I think of what I'm hearing here. Even Yeshua, he washed everybody's feet. He said, the first should be last and last should be first. And so you need to get the basis down, and that's through service and through working. And now after that, you need to become a son, which is more or less ownership, because then you take more pride and responsibility versus a person who doesn't care, that's just there for a check. That's all.
Somebody look at
you can teach skill, okay, but you can't teach attitude.
Right.
You cannot teach attitude. You can teach skill. And in what Brother May is talking about, they can learn that skill, but then to make that transition to consultant or owner, franchise owner, now we have to change
The mindset.
the mindset. We have to work with the attitude. And see, with this entrepreneurial spirit, with this wanting to do your own thing, you have to really, really, really enjoy the thrill of the hunt. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase before, but see, back in the day, okay, that's what men got off to. You know, bottom line is I have to leave here at 9 o'clock in the morning, okay,
Gotta
or
produce
or 12 o'clock at night and go hunt. If I didn't hunt, my family didn't.
Don't eat.
Right.
So a man should enjoy, if you're gonna own a business, you have to enjoy the thrill of the hunt. Because when you have a job, now this, I might get some hate mail behind this one. When you have a job, you're a kept animal.
Yeah.
I think the words you used last time was tamed. That was the words you used last time, I believe. I have to think about that. But that's what people need to hear. Is and like you say, and like you're saying about these young kids and I want to work. I mean, you have to start somewhere and working hard, and the thrill of the hunt is getting those contracts and making the money, getting jobs complete, and having happy customers. You're still working for somebody. You just make your own. But yeah, it's inspiring to hear to me.
I mean, you always have somebody to report to.
Right.
Even if it's your customers.
Right.
Okay? Because your customers will make your business, but you gotta enjoy the thrill of the hunt. You gotta enjoy and you gotta employ, exercise the law of pursuit. Okay? And that law of pursuit demands the very best that you have to offer. And I think down the road, now in my business, because I was working for Southwestern Bell, and I told them, y'all taught me a lot, so I'm gonna go out here and see what I can do for myself. I had some lean years, some troubling years, okay? Trying to get things going and make things happen. Even in starting the business I have now in 97, lean years starting out. But guess what? I weigh more now than I did in 1997. Okay? So the meal I missed didn't hurt me. I tell people I got $2 in my pocket and $3 in the bank. What more can I ask?
Sorry.
And
Okay.
Mhm.
But see, Monday morning, if I decide, now this is after 20 some odd years in business, fellas, so don't let somebody just start and try and do this. But if I decide I don't want to leave home till 12 o'clock noon, I have that right, I have that privilege, I have that ability. But I have enjoyed and exercised the thrill of the hunt for over 25 years. Okay? I have exercised the law of pursuit. And that's where you have to enjoy the thrill of the hunt and really apply the law of pursuit. This is the subject I've been wanting to get to for a minute here. Okay, I listened to that video 3 times myself, coming up to this day, and I'm going, whoa, okay. It excites me. So, closing statements, Brother Mays, talk to me, or to us. Any real quick comments on this is your first time with us, and what you thinking?
I enjoyed the topics for today, the lessons for today. I made some notes, a lot of notes that I'm going to take my time to disseminate. So I'm enjoying it. I love it.
Brother Moore?
Listen, it's always a pleasure to get with my brothers. You guys uplift my spirits. Welcome, Brother Mays. Glad to see a new face and you know, keep up the good work, especially with that apprenticeship. But you guys, I love you guys. You guys always lift my spirits.
Brother Gabe?
It was a great discussion today. Very happy to be here. Welcome, Brother Mays, as well. And yeah, looking forward for more discussions, more videos, because we seeking wisdom. And one word, let's apply it.
All
So-
right. Brother Imran, you hadn't said too much today. You've been fun.
I'm listening and I'm applying these tools because it's been rough in a way. So I mean, I'm trying, but you know, my attitude, I got to work on that. You know,
Okay.
like you said, you know, ain't no man supposed to be dominant over another man, and I just won't allow it. So that's
Okay.
what I'm going through. So,
Brother
you know,
Al?
Abba Father, we just need to be true children of the light. He's given us the plan for the legacy. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Man.
All right.
That's my brother right there, boy. Brothers.
Yeah.
That's brothers, boy.
First and last name to say, but
Say what? What you say, Cheryl?
I said his first and last name is the same.
Yeah.
His first name ain't L. His brothers.
Brothers, right? That's brothers. Boy.
Yes, indeed. It's been a pleasure, man, as always. Thank you guys for enlightening this conversation. And I know we've all been taking notes. I got 2 sheets worth of notes and things that I jotted down to go back over and re-tune myself. But great conversation today, man. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, sir, for putting together these most powerful videos
Yes, sir.
for us to have these discussions on. And we continue to pray that the Most High will lead you in the way that you are going and putting these videos and these short messages out for mankind, I'll say, that they
Yes, sir.
might be able to glean the benefits of your wisdom. And we greatly appreciate it. And thanking you for allowing us to be a part of this. And lastly, I'd just like to leave you guys with this, something that I spoke to my church on 2 weeks ago when I delivered the message, and just put us in the mindset of Zerubbabel. For those of you that know about Zerubbabel and Joshua, when they came out of the Babylonian area, came out of Babylon and came back to rebuild the temple. As I'm thinking about these precepts that we talked about today, they all finally lead us to a lasting legacy, but it's all gearing us up to building something. And when you reading Nehemiah, reading Ezra, and you see what they actually went through, excuse me, to come back and rebuild the temple, and you apply that to your life, we all can be a lot better and be a lot better men when we look at what they had to do. They came back in 3 waves, and we talked earlier about, we know there's 3 stages in life. We know that there's, Grant kind of alluded to, youth, manhood, and old age. Not necessarily in those words, but when he spoke about, what characteristics you learn, things that you go through when, from 0 to 20 and 20 to 40 and 40 to 60 and so on and so forth. So all these key elements play into one another. So if you think about that rebuilding, whether it's you're rebuilding your life, rebuilding your mindset, rebuilding your thoughts and your words, so that you can make a better impact upon those that you touch for your legacy, we would all be better for it. So again, thank y'all. Shabbat Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you is my prayer.
Amen. 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 You know, there are a couple of videos about Babylon. I was trying to find them while Worship Master Searles were talking. But if you listen to those and think about it, that's what we're in the midst of right about now.
Mhm.
Fear, greed. That's the way the world is. So
Right.
it's my prayer that these videos help motivate, incite, inspire men and women to stand steadfast on principles and precepts that are righteous. So, however, and for those of you that tune into this at a later date, don't forget to subscribe and become a part of the Mount Tabor YouTube family. Thank you, fellas, for attending. I will get the
Man.
next 7 to you within a day or so. And we're going to keep trucking, okay?
Yes, sir.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you very much.
You too.
Welcome. You have a good one.
Okay.
You have a good day.